What is hoppin' hobbits? Bill Joe Jaggins here. I just hit level 44 in Pokemon Go for the second time. I think now is the time to tell the story of my original Pokemon Go account and how I came to have the one that I have now. In 2016, I started playing Pokemon Go. I think at the time I was rocking a Galaxy Note 5. I wasn't a day one player, but I heard all the fuss and decided to see what all of it was about. I didn't play for long, and it's been so long now that I barely remember, but I do remember that the game was very limited and that there wasn't much that you could do without actively going out and spinning Pokestops. So I kept my account, but my desire to play declined to basically zero. In 2020, partially due to the pandemic lockdown and partially due to another illness that put me in a chair for 2 weeks, I got heavily invested in the main series Pokemon games. I bought a DS, a 3DS, and eventually a Switch, but this newfound love for the franchise re-incentivized me to check out Pokemon's mobile offerings. In April 2022, I played my first significant event, Stuffle Community Day. My wife and I were grocery shopping, and while I pushed the cart, she checked for shinies. The lure of shiny Pokemon sucked both of us in, and my wife also made an account. The biggest deterrent to playing Pokemon Go was that I had to play alone, and that it required me to take time out of my busy family life to play a video game, which I wasn't willing to do. But at this point, my two sons were old enough to care and play with at least some degree of competence, and with my wife on board, we had our own little local community. We like to call this the Summer of Pokemon. I played consistently, and by March of 2023, I had passed level 44, which was no small feat. In under a year, I acquired 53,500,000 experience. Remember that for later. The next month, April 2023, I got hit with a pretty significant loss. In the grand scheme of things, it's only a game, but the investment of time made it a very hard pill to swallow. I lost access to my Pokemon Go account. Before you ask, I wasn't cheating, I wasn't spoofing, and I didn't get banned. The particulars of this event are a discussion for another time, but it suffices to say that the loss was permanent. I do have some Pokemon in Pokemon Home that I had previously sent over, including my shiny Mewtwo named Muad'Dib. Without me playing, the driving force behind our little group was largely absent. I was the most invested, and I coordinated all the events, and also provided a pretty significant portion of the muscle for raids and such. The trainer closest to me in level was my wife, who was at level 37. She played not as much because of her own interest, but because it was a way for us all to get out and have fun as a family. So I took a few months off, which, to be frank, was probably for the best. I stayed somewhat plugged in with events, and I don't remember exactly what happened that made me pull the trigger, but late in the summer of 2023, I wanted to play Go again. My plan was basically to start over from scratch. I made a second account and leveled it up to 33, but I couldn't come close to replacing all of my strong, rare, and event Pokemon. It was impossible to restore the personal memories tied up in those monsters, and the sheer investment of time I had put in. For perspective, getting to level 33 only takes 750,000 XP, less than a million, which is only about 1.4% of the amount required for level 44. These levels don't scale linearly, and require more and more XP to level up each time, not to mention the additional challenges after level 40. At this point, my wife, who had played most of the same events as I did, took one for the team and volunteered to give me her account. She didn't play anymore, and had been developing some frustrations with the bugginess of the game as it was, so thanks to her thoughtful selflessness, Bill Joe Jaggins was born. Despite the fact that this account had a fair number of good Pokemon, I was starting at level 37. For reference, it takes 9,500,000 XP to reach this level, so she was probably sitting around 10 million when I took over. She also cared not at all for things like platinum medals and hadn't invested much into powering up teams or mega evolution. I played much more casually at this point than when I started the previous year, but regardless, I cracked level 40 around September of 2023. The rest of our group had moved on, and even I skipped a lot of major events and spent a lot of time without that app even installed. If I'm honest with myself, I had played far too much with my original account, and it was a blessing in disguise to be forced to unplug from the relentless cycle of events and updates. I still count Pokémon as one of my favorite game franchises, but it's only a game, and I have to try to keep what it is in the end, only a pastime meant for entertainment in its proper role and in balance. That brings me to today. It's currently May of 2025. It's been 3 years since I started playing Pokemon Go, about 2 years since I lost my original account, and about 1.5 years since I started playing again. This week, I am finally back at level 44. In a lot of ways, Biljo Jaggins is still behind my original account. I had nearly all of my type medals completed, just Fairy and Dragon left, and tons of other Platinum medals either completed or almost completed. I had a lot more Mega Pokemon, and I put a lot of time and effort into Mega Evolving them every day, so many of them were at Mega Level 3. I had lots of best buddies, and had already put lots of effort into the wish-granted masterwork research to get Shiny Jirachi, which is my favorite mythical. Most of this work had to be redone. I had a 93% Shadow Mewtwo with 15 attack, leveled up past level 40, and tons of other strong Pokemon I just can't replace. But, on the other hand, I am really proud of this account. On top of the 9.5 million experience necessary to get to level 37, I've acquired another 44 million. A number of my current Pokemon actually came from my original account through trading, like my 98% shiny Lucky Altaria named Troy, and my 98% Lucky Mewtwo. So some of the original DNA is still there beneath the surface. I was there, and I even helped catch some of my wife's best Pokemon, so I still feel that personal connection that makes this game franchise so unique and special. I also have new accomplishments like catching my first Shundo, maxing it out, and getting it to Mega Level 3. At this point, I'm really pleased with where my account stands. I'm also really enjoying the new adventure of making videos and sharing them online, which is an idea I've tossed around for years but never pulled the trigger. I doubt I'll ever get to level 50, and I am far from a hardcore player, but this game has given me a lot of good memories. So thank you to Niantic and the Pokemon Company. We've had our differences, but you've given me the opportunity to turn all these little animals into rage-fueled killing machines with godlike power levels. And thank you to all of you for listening. I'd love to hear your favorite Pokemon Go memories in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, follow, or subscribe to make it a habit. Peace!